Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about an idea that I got just talking to myself a few minutes ago. And it was about marketing and the ideal form of marketing. So I was kind of pondering what makes sense in marketing, what makes sense um, for the world. Like if we see the world, humanity, as a closed system, and we start to ponder what's good for this system, what's bad for this system, it seems only reasonable that marketers and advertisers, not the same thing, but they've been like very much linked together, are bad for the wealth or the good of the whole system. And how is that? It's very simple. Like for example, where do marketers go? They go to whatever's fun, because whatever's fun and interesting is gathering a lot of attention, right? Like the internet. So the internet was fun and beautiful. It was not beautiful, but it was very useful and powerful. Now it is too, but it's full of advertisement all over the place, and marketing that actually just sells like, you should do this, and this is why it's gonna be awesome, and you're gonna do all sorts of things with this, and this 60-day guarantee, get your money back all the time, same shit all over the internet. So the marketers go whatever things are fun. But what do marketers do actually? Marketers direct the flow of expenditures. So they just direct the flow of consumption. If some people were going to consume in a way or consume less, they make them consume more or in a different direction, right? To a competitor instead of the main, monopoly or whatever. So what they do is they direct the flow of consumption. That is something that actually doesn't add to the common welfare. So the money in the system is the same, what is produced and valuable is the same. What you're doing is just directing consumption in a way instead of another part of the system. But the whole system, nothing gets created, no service, no value. But there is a way in which that could be positive for the common well of the whole system, which is, I'll first explain why it's not the way it's being developed, which is I am a little part of the system that wants to be better than the other part of the system, or just to get by economically. So what I do is I hire an advertiser or a marketer, and they do whatever they have to do to direct the consumption my way, right? But I don't make sure first whether my product is better for the whole system. Like if people consumed my product, this thing, my service, instead of the other thing, that choice of consumption would be better for the whole system, right? Nobody makes sure that's the way it works. And most marketers don't do either. They say, who's gonna pay me if I direct consumption their way? And they do it through advertising or whatever techniques they need. So there is a way though in which advertising, which we see doesn't add to the system, because it just moves consumption from bad sources to other bad sources, sometimes good sources to bad sources, right? Like they make you consume things that are not good for you, not good for the environment, not good for anyone, and they get money by that. So the wealth they have is like eroded from the whole system. They take value from the whole system, right? Now there is a way in which they could be very positive for the system, using the very tools they use in, which is actually just to direct consumption. So they direct consumption towards things that are good to be consumed for the entirety of the system, which means if they make you consume things that are better for the environment and that actually prime proper human values like happiness, connection, peace, whatever, right? If humanity is better off consuming this thing than the other, then something that a marketer can do that would improve, right, the welfare of the whole system would be to direct consumption towards these good sources of consumption, these good investments in industry. What I mean by that is that if marketers can do something that is properly, like you could call that you've made the whole system grow, you've added value to the system, is when the system works better, right? So how would it work better? If consumption, which is an essential part of the system, was better directed, and marketers can do that. So I think like the ideal angel of a marketer would actually be someone who sees what the trends of consumption are and predicts whether that's good for the environment or whether it's actually good for the people, or whether the fact that humanity is spending time and resources into making that industry a thing, that consumption source a thing, that they ponder whether that's good or not, and they start directing people from consumption that's bad for humanity's system and for them to consumption that's good for humanity's system and for them too. So that's what I'm kind of saying. Like in my case, because I believe that consuming animal products is way worse for the environment, not better for health, and is obviously morally incorrect. I think that the common welfare of the people would undeniably be expanded by us switching to a vegetarian or vegan diet, right? So if I'm a marketer and I see that there's a lot of consumption going towards meat, dairy consumption, for example, I would help the whole system, and for that I would be reasonably and properly paid if I just change their consumption from this meat, which is very unoptimized, very poorly optimized source of consumption, to a very good optimized, which would be vegetables and legumes, like just plant-based food. So if humanity switches to that, which is just switches from a consumption source to another one, the whole system expands in value because it gets better, right? That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, you can disagree or not, just an example. But if you believe that it's better that we or even we drink water instead of drinking alcohol or Coca-Cola, if we can be just as happy with both, then it makes much more sense that Coca-Cola, which is very expensive to make in comparison with water, Coca-Cola has water, so it's obviously less expensive. If humanity directed consumptions to water, humanity would be more it would consume less resources and would be a lot more healthy. So that's good for humanity, the system. And so then a marketer that makes that transition happen would be actually a good force for humanity. So just in case anyone's trying to be a marketer or is idealizing this thing, marketing is actually very good for humanity. I think this could be a way to actually make it. And if you ask me the question, well, how does one actually influence and get paid to influence towards what's actually a good source of consumption? Well, for that I have no answer yet, of course, but I think it's a question worth pondering, because a fair amount of people, a fair percentage of humanity is working towards us consuming something instead of another thing, yet very few are actually doing that, considering whether that shift is good or useful for the whole system of humanity, the planet. Just giving you that thought to ponder, and I hope that you can agree with me, or maybe show me where I'm not so right. Whatever, in the comments you can do that. And I'll be uploading this very soon. Happy to talk to you and share this kind of idea that just popped to my head. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.